Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Beyond Max Q. I'm Mollie Jahner, your host, and I am very excited today about our guest, Ben Johnson. I have known him for almost 2 years now, and he is just building all kinds of amazing things and working on all kinds of cool projects. And also, I feel like I've learned from you, just even in our 2 year relationship, of working together, a lot of really cool things. You're an amazing CEO, you're leading your company, and you do it with humor, I think, and a lot of grace. And that's really inspirational for me anyway. So with that, I would love for you to, Ben Johnson of Freya Systems, I would love for you to talk about what you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you, Molly. I really appreciate it, and thank you for the great introduction and the invitation. So yes, Freya Systems is a software data analytics company. We are very much focused on defense, aerospace, and utility sort of space. So most recently, we've been focused around predictive algorithms for waste of all things wastewater treatment, and my team love to joke around the fact that we've gone from planes to poo, and from a processing standpoint, which is awesome. Um, and and I like what we do for both industries because it's so impactful. Like
Yeah.
helping people get from A to B and keeping folks safe, and from an aircraft context is awesome. And the more we dig into wastewater treatment, like water is life is one of that industry's mottos, and
Yes.
that's phenomenal. So we've been working on some great predictive algorithms there. We've been developing machine learning for since 2017 now.
Mhm.
So that's all about helping them optimize their operations, which is great. And that's leading us into other AI solutions, especially in the RAG LLM space,
Mhm.
around knowledge transfer, which is such an important kind of topic at the moment. I think I'm not sure if you're aware, but the baby boom generation is retiring off, and at a
Yeah.
fairly phenomenal rate, more than I kind of
Yes.
anticipated. 10,000 baby boomers are retiring a day, and 16.7% of those are in the utility space. So
Mhm.
helping them address that knowledge transfer issue is super exciting, and something that we're really kind of leaning into and enjoying.
Well, and you're
So
dealing with systems that if they go down, I mean, that's
mhm.
life and death in some cases. And so that knowledge transfer, I feel like, is so critical. It's not just like,
Mhm.
oh, I don't know this one thing. It's like, if I don't know this thing, this whole system goes down and it affects people's lives, which
Yeah,
is
yeah, for sure.
kind of
And
exciting.
and and that's the power of AI, I think. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of AI helping augment humans, helping us
Mhm.
expand what we are capable of doing rather than replacing us.
Right.
And I think to your point, it can be there as almost like a checksum someone there to help us be effective, make sure that nothing goes too over the top,
Right.
or nothing is missed. Do you know what I mean? And it can act as a partner,
Mhm.
which I think is a beautiful thing for us to be able to have as a technology these days.
Well, I love that. And I also love that you're helping with the knowledge transfer, but I also think it's so interesting to think about all of the baby boomers leaving the workforce and then almost leaving these businesses. Not just like, like working at a place, but also like if they started a business now, what happens to that business? Does it just
Mhm.
go under? Like how do we almost recover that loss in the economy? And I think you've gone through the process of you saw a need, right? So you started one thing, and then I think it
Mhm.
was in 2019, is that what you said? Or maybe 2017, 2017. You started something and then you moved into a new direction based on like the business need. And I thought that was really interesting. I'd love for you to talk about that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And when it comes down to that business need, I mean, I believe you've got to be adaptive. I
Yeah.
founded the business in 2009, and at
That's
that
so
point,
cool.
we were just all very software focused. So we were developing support software, we were doing some business analysis, and then it was 2017 when I saw the pivot to, well, data analytics is becoming more and more prevalent.
Hmm.
If there's one thing that we're good at, is it's wading around in data and kind of developing insights from it, whether that was in software applications or that data
Yeah.
analytics. And yes, that continues to pivot, especially into more and
Right.
more of the machine learning space as AI continues to evolve.
Hmm.
And it's beautiful that we can engineer solutions from AI, which as an engineer, that's one of the things that always excites me, engineering new things from what's already there.
Hmm.
And I think that's what really successful businesses have to do, is that evolution from
Yes.
one phase to another as the world moves on and it changes. And and you're right, there's going to be a lot of businesses. I hope that there's going to be a lot of businesses that embrace this technology to
Yes.
help with that transfer to the next generation, with
Hmm.
or to the next owner, whoever that might be,
Right.
so they can be far more kind of effective with their time and their and with the business overall.
Right. Well, I mean, there's so much tech out there too that can help operationalize
Hmm.
a lot of these businesses that maybe haven't embraced that initial there's so many terms, so it's tough to say like
Hmm.
digital 4.0 and
Hmm.
digital transformation, industry
Yeah.
4.0, that's what it is. I mean, you start to marry all the different terms, but it's like which
Yeah.
one are we on now? I'm not sure. But they do speak to a greater issue, right? Of like, okay, how do we embrace AI and what does that mean? And you talk about this all the time. So I would
Mm.
love for like almost like a mini lecture on it.
Okay.
Just the short, sweet version of like,
Hmm.
okay, I have this awesome AI expert. Where do you think everything's going in the next like 5 years?
That's a loaded question
It
because it's
is.
going so quickly and it's going in so many different directions. I mean, clearly at the moment, I see that agentic AI is really starting
Yeah.
to build pace, and so I see us being able to develop those workflows with AI,
Hmm.
being a kind of like a key concept there,
Hmm.
and that empowers a lot of small businesses. One of the things, and larger businesses, I think AI is a great democratize
Hmm.
sort of technology. Do you know what I mean? That's true from countries level. If you look at the numbers, smaller
Right.
countries can punch way above their weight, and so I think that democratization is going to allow a lot more people to be much more inventive and kind of build on those foundations. I mean, if you think about it, we have and this is an Andrew Name comment. He's a leading light from the AI sort of space, and he talks all about building on the different foundations. So we've got the semiconductor sort of foundation, which is AMD, and all of the chipsets. Then we went into the cloud sort of layer.
Hmm.
And now on top of that, we're building apps. And I see this is where businesses are going to be able to take what their secret sauce is today and and kind of pivot into being a technology business
Yes.
with AI to enable others in doing that. So I see it coming to a lot more of us to be able to
Hmm.
interact with that, to create with AI. Do you know what I mean? Like whether that's a new software application that we use
Hmm.
for a couple of months and then dispose of, and because that was all the need that we had for it, or whether it's us actually pivoting our businesses into a AI based service that others can use.
Hmm.
Which is so exciting. Like it's exciting to see all of the different possibilities that are out there.
Well, and what do you think that means for you guys? So I know you're teaching on AI, like you're
Hmm.
offering, opportunities and workshops and things like that. Where do you see Freya in the next even just 2 years based on all of this?
Well, I definitely see you're right. We've been embracing the education kind of just recently, and that's because as I've been touring, I present to a lot of CEOs on this.
Hmm.
I help them understand how AI strategy fits.
You're like an educator at heart, I feel
Yeah,
like.
yes,
It is, which is great.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I am an educator at heart, and the more I kind of dug into it, the more I recognized there's a lot of fear around AI.
Yeah.
And there's a recent Pew, I hope I get the numbers right from this, but I think there's a recent Pew study that said 68% of Americans think that AI is going to replace jobs. Only 28% of them think it's going to replace their job, which is, which is, yeah, yeah,
That
no,
is
it's
kind
a,
of confusing. Okay.
um, but that aside, at least 28% of people think it's going to replace their job. Now, I think that's probably closer to 50%. And
Okay.
so that's where the education comes in, because I think the education removes the fear. I think because people don't understand, it's a very difficult technology to understand sometimes.
Mhm.
It's moving so quickly as well
Yes. Yeah.
that helping educate people is going to be a key proponent for
Hmm.
them understanding it more, so that then we can help them solve their problems. So I see that becoming another service that
Hmm.
helps us connect our clients with their end business objectives. And at the end of the day, I'm an engineer, so I'm looking to engineer as many solutions as I can to
Love it.
as many problems as I can. And I think that's where that kind of fits. So yeah, I see us certainly ramping up the education piece
Mhm.
to help people understand more and then pivot their own businesses more and really embrace the technology.
Okay, well, yes, I see you doing that. It's so funny, like, where you kinda started even over the last 2 years, how you really put yourself out there and you're out there talking and speaking and teaching on all this. I
Hmm.
think that's really admirable because it is a scary thing. I know people talk about, oh, especially from a marketing perspective, "Oh, AI is gonna take your job." Well, I don't actually know that I agree with that 100%. I think it's gonna take some of our job functions, and I think as a marketer, if you're not using AI and becoming well versed in it, then I think you might be out of a job to
Hmm.
somebody who
Hmm.
is doing that, but it's I don't know that you're gonna have, like, a full-blown, like, because you still have to have that human element, I think, like you said, like, you're creating with AI.
Hmm.
I like how you said that. I also wanna call out because I think it's funny for the audience, you keep using words like wading into and digging into when you were talking about wastewater, and I didn't know if that was, like, intentional. You're just starting to, like, use puns as you talk about the from the plains to the poo. That was pretty funny. So, well, you're doing it unconsciously.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I would love if you're talking to our audience, which is a group of founders, like some
Hmm.
are quite a ways into their journey, but some are just starting. I would love to get your thoughts, like as you talk to CEOs. What are some of the messages that you would say to a group like that as they start their journey, especially given the tech landscape?
Okay. And that's an interesting and kind of challenging question because it is the tech landscape is moving so quickly, and I think one of the first things I would say is just start. Like it's
Yes.
uh, I'm a bit of an introvert at heart, even though I kind of put myself out there a lot. And one of the sometimes I've been had a tendency to overthink, and I think
Oh,
this technology doesn't allow for too much of that kind of
mhm.
overthinking on it. I think if you just embrace it and dive in with it, you can really get started and get moving quite quickly. And so,
Mhm.
and I advise that of anyone to just like get stuck in
Mhm.
and embrace it. Um, I think there is also something which I would say is to make sure that you have a good, from a founder perspective, make sure that you have a good peer group as well.
Mm,
Because as businesses grow, if there's one thing I've recognized in myself and in other kind of business owners and founders,
mhm,
it's lonely at the top. And having that peer group that you can share ideas with and get insights from
mhm,
is it's just critical to success in my opinion. And so I would certainly uh, advise anyone that if they're on that journey, um, don't wait to start that group. Don't wait
mhm.
to coordinate and interact with other founders and get their ideas and create peer groups because at the end of the day, I'm going to use another one of those analogies, but which is very water based as well. But I'm kind of
Apparently.
rising. Yeah, yeah. I seem to have gone there at the moment. I'm a big believer in the rising tide, and there's
Mhm.
so much that we can do
With
that
clean water.
with
Clean water.
clean
Because
water.
they're
Yeah,
using Freya.
rising clean water tide.
Clean
Yes, yeah.
water.
We don't want a rising wastewater tide. That would be bad. Um, there's so much that we can go at, and so many challenging things that we can
Mhm,
tackle that sharing more and more ideas will help us kind of create that. And we can, yes, we're still going to have a bit of a competitive landscape, but
yeah.
I think I certainly see the other area that the world is going from a business standpoint is much
Mhm,
more partnerships. That's one of the things that we've been embracing much more,
yeah.
this kind of partnership ecosystem
Mhm,
and doing what you're really good at, staying laser focused on that, and that networking with others, and
mhm,
that kind of creating a peer group allows you to bring in folks like yourself, Molly, who have like expertise in specific areas. I mean, that's how we met because
right.
we our companies had like adjacent
Mhm,
capabilities, and it made sense to have discussions about that. And I think that's true across the board. And so I think now we can be much more laser focused at, oh, this is what my business is great at. I'm going to stay focused on that, but I can solve much bigger, more
mhm,
challenging problems by bringing others in to form a loose conglomeration to tackle that problem and then move on to the next one, which I think
right.
is that's also a beautiful kind of thing that we have as a capability today.
Well, it's interesting. It's almost what you're talking about is like a human connection to solve a very tech world as we drive and grow, right? Like we still
Hmm.
find that human connection and that network and kind of hold on to it to actually make the
Hmm.
other piece be more efficient and better and grow. I love that. Okay, so I would love for you to talk a little bit about who you are as a CEO. Like, why do you
Sure.
think you've been successful? I know it's always hard to talk about like, "I'm amazing," but like, talk a little bit about like, what do you think, what traits do you have? You say you're an introvert, but you've pushed yourself. Like, I think that's interesting in and of itself because that's
Hmm.
tough. Talk a little bit about that.
Okay. I hate talking about myself,
I
Molly, but
know, I
I'll do
know.
my best. I think it's a few things have served me well. One of which is being a lifelong learner. Like I love to absorb information and knowledge.
Mhm,
And I think that's served me very well in, as you say, then pushing my boundaries. And I've had others who have helped me to do that, to help me kind of push outside of my comfort zone. And that's where growth is.
mhm,
Um, and so those two traits have helped me substantially. But
mhm,
I think the thing that has really served me well from a success standpoint is focusing on why I kind of engaged in business in the first
mhm.
time. And sometimes I forget, and sometimes it's all about all the exciting problem that I'm trying to
Yeah,
fix. But I founded my company originally because I wanted to give my team, or the team that I was going to create, a space where they could have work-life balance, that they could
yeah,
have something that I didn't have in my original kind of corporate world job, um, and a workplace that I think, as Simon Sinek kind of refers to it as the sort of workplace where everyone wants to come to work on a Monday morning with a smile on their face.
yes. They don't have the Sunday scaries.
Yes, yeah, yeah, no Sunday scaries, and I don't always achieve that, but if I can achieve that, that has an impact on even that the group of people who work for me. I think that's a positive thing, and that's what I continue to try and bring to
Mhm,
mind whenever there are challenging times, and know that it's all about the team. It's not just about me. Um,
yeah. I love that. Thank you. Well, and we always end with, what are you currently reading? Because I think that's always
yeah.
a fun question. So what are you currently
Uh,
reading?
so I'm always if you read my bio, Molly, you'll know that I have a book recommendation every week because it
I
changes
love
every
that.
week. At this
You
particular
should start
point,
a book
I'm
club.
reading.
That should be
Yeah.
something you should start a Freya book club. I would join.
Okay. Oh, yeah. We should. Oh, yeah. I have so many
That would
recommendations.
be great. I mean, that's that
Um.
human
Mhm.
connection, right? We can open it up
Mhm.
and have people join it.
Yeah. 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 Oh, and we can have conversations about how it's applicable or not. Oh, that would be
Mhm,
good. Yeah. So right now I've been reading a book by Ben Horowitz. So he was a CEO as cloud-based technology came into a tech CEO's
mhm,
cloud-based technology came in, and it's called The Hard Thing About Hard Things. And I don't know. I got interested in it because I saw a sound bite from it, about the difference between a peacetime and a wartime CEO,
mm,
and kind of pivoting from like the steady state easy
yep,
world to like challenging times, and there's a lot
mhm,
of flux at the moment from uh, where we are in a kind of business space. And so that that kind of drew me in. And then the more I listened to some of his advice, it's very real, grounded,
mhm.
down to earth kind of sound bites. So I would wholeheartedly recommend anyone picking up and having a read.
Awesome. I'm gonna hold you to the book club. I think we should launch that. So you heard it here
Okay.
first, everyone. There's gonna be a Freya book club. And so I'm signing him up for things he doesn't even know about it. No, but thank you
Okay.
so much for your time today and for sharing part of your journey. I highly recommend giving Ben a follow. I've enjoyed getting to know you over the last couple years, but then also just a lot of the great stuff that you're putting out there on LinkedIn, which I think it's harder and harder to sift through good content
Hmm.
and bad content on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And so when I say that, I don't say it lightly. It's really well done. So with that, we will close. I really appreciate your time.
Okay. Thank you very much, and have a great day.